Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
My name's Adam Herendine, and this is my Raven Knight's castle.
So you've got a nice little battle kind of taking place out front here. What's the story going on?
So, funny thing is that this build was actually started out as something completely different that I was really wanting to do, but I got hired on to do a commission, a year-long commission, and so my time has been cut short. And so about 12 days before the convention, I had to make some pretty big pivot and cut out a bunch of stuff and alter a bunch of stuff and change a bunch of things, and even changed the faction. And I was like, well, I wanted to do the Raven Knights, so I changed that over to the Raven Knights Castle. And I know a lot of people have a bunch of Black Falcon minifigs and the Lion Knights Castle figs now, and so I was like, I don't want to do that. So I had a bunch of the Nexo Knight, like orc, I think they're orcs, I don't know. So I grabbed a bunch of those and threw those out, and so we just have these Nexo Knight orcs coming in to take on these Raven Knights, and yeah, we're gonna see how it fares out for them.
And for people who have seen some of the builds you've done at past Brick Club shows that we've covered, they'll know you're very much into the different castle factions here.
Yeah, I really like to do something that really is out of the norm, just different than the everyday, European style castle. So when people actually, I feel like when people see a lot of castles, they're like, oh yeah, that's a castle, I've seen that, and they kind of, move on. But I like to do something that's a little bit different, to where it causes them to stop and really take a look and be like, I know what that is, but I haven't seen that before. And so I think I captured that this year on this one.
Speaking of that, you can take us through some of the towers and the defensive areas here. Start with maybe the big one in the corner there and kind of how you designed that.
So yeah, I do a lot of research with like custom or like concept art with video games and movies, and I found this round like keep citadel type, and so I decided I would build that as a fortress stronghold, and then I wanted to do kind of a woodsy type look, so a lot of like wood type roofs, and so it's not like the super strong castles that we're used to seeing, but they are vulnerable to fire or whatever. But I just thought the look would be really nice, and in the color scheme with this, I think they call it bright light yellow, I think, and the black, I think it would be a good contrast with the brown wood and some of the more earth tones.
Yeah. So you see different types of towers. The round one, you kind of are able to create a lot of those angles in there. Then you went for kind of the more traditional square design on this side.
Yeah, it doing a lot of different research and concept art. When I found a bunch of stuff, I wanted to do some things that were a little more traditional, but yet a little bit different. And so, this one turned out pretty good with, I threw in some olive in there as well, for some maybe mossy type look. But yeah, the rounded citadel keep, definitely the stronghold of the fort, but then, wanted to do a few other buildings that had a different style, different aesthetic, to them.
And then for the wall itself, you've got a pretty thin wall going on here. Seems like that might be a little precarious setting that up.
Yeah, that is. It's actually kind of funny because these walls actually just come in and out, just that easy. But yeah, it was one of those things that I think the day before the convention, I still needed to do castle walls, and so I didn't have as much time this year as I have in the past, working 60 to 70 hours a week. But so yeah, I just threw those together real quick, and they work, I guess. I don't know if they'll hold up to this army and that's coming in to invade, but we'll see.
And then how about the design for the entryway here? The doors in particular are really eye-catching with that colored scheme.
Yeah, I was when I was doing a lot of research, I did come across it was actually a Viking Stronghold, some concept art, and they had this like chevron look with black and dark red, and I was like, wow, that's really cool looking, and I was all, I can build that, and so I did, and it happened to fit the color scheme because these Raven Knights are actually, they have the dark red with the black. And so I was like, well, that looks really good. I'll do that. They didn't make. I used those the half of the 1x2 tile.
Kind of like a triangle design.
The triangle piece, and so it was able to get that effect. That was kind of neat for an entry, a gate entry that I haven't ever seen done before. So it was pretty neat.
One thing that catches your eye looking in these towers throughout the build is some of the lighting that's been added here, especially with those fire elements, really makes it stand out. So how did you get that added in?
So I have a really good friend, Will. He's part of our lug. He's actually standing over here to the left of me. He actually he's a wizard at lighting. And so yesterday, before public came in, he wired it up real quick for me. Got some lighting in some of the towers up here and just these awesome braziers. Yeah, he's a wizard, and I definitely couldn't have done it without him.
Fantastic. It's great to have that collaboration, even if it is very last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my girlfriend help me out. Another one of my friends, Greg, he helped me out too. Like, if it wasn't for that, I don't know that this would have been pulled together in time. So.
Now, I wanted to turn our attention to the front of the build with the fantastic landscaping out here. Yeah. So you've got great rock work combined with all these beautiful trees. How did this section kind of come together for you? Did you build this in squares and kind of put it all together, or how does that work?
Yeah, so this is actually built on 12 48 by 48s. And so it just comes together just like a big puzzle. But I really wanted to capture I really wanted some elevation, but I also wanted not just a plain kind of straight road. So I wanted this kind of curved road, maybe a bridge over the little canyon there, which I actually just used the Palisade panels. So it actually is kind of fun. It looks like a log bridge. So that turned out really, really cool. I put the Demigorgon under there because he's hanging out in the upside down. But I like to throw in some Easter eggs. But yeah, I like to play with elevation, rock work, plant work. It's really tedious, but the end result is pretty fantastic.
The trees are also great. So I always love to hear about builders' different approaches to trees. And you've got a variety of them in here. So take us through kind of each of those if you can.
Yeah. So I wanted there to be, like you said, a variety of trees. The big leafy trees to add a good pop of color to just a bunch of gray. But the fir trees I've done here are just the flower stems, but with the new little kind of, I guess, bar on the end, so they stack really well. So much better than the old flower stem pieces because they actually hold up and hold together. The old ones, if somebody sneezed on the other side of the convention, they'd fall apart. But these other trees are actually just the big leafy pieces, actually just interlocked and interconnected, and they're just in different layers. And then they just kind of sit on there and leave a good kind of flattened down, look. So it's a different style, a different texturing to those trees.
Very good work here, but I also wanted to turn our attention to one of the other builds that you brought to the show here. Very unique build, which won Best Pirate, which is kind of funny when you actually start to take a look at this. So tell us about this build.
So this is one that I've been working on for a while. It's called Rudolph's Revenge. Absolutely one of my, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure how it came about, but it's one of my favorite ships. I think when Mario came out and they came out with that nougat boat hull, I thought, well, that kind of looks like gingerbread. Maybe I could do this crazy Christmas pirate ship mashup, two things that definitely don't go together, and just put it together. And I was like, well, what would I call it? And what if I called it Rudolph's Revenge? And so it just started like snowballing into this like, this crazy Christmas ship. And I really wanted to capture as many of the things that embody Christmas as I could. So, Christmas lights and reindeer and candy canes. And I'm like, but how is, I call him Captain Claus. I got him from the BBG Forge. But I was like, how does Captain Claus deliver presents? And he's like, oh yeah, he shoots them out of the cannon. So yeah, Santa's delivering presents a little bit different this year.
This is so fantastic, and just the theming throughout is so nice. All the different, like the alternating red and white little one studs there in between the windows. The tree in the back there is super fun, and you've gotten a lot of the different kind of Christmas themed figures that Lego has done over the years.
Yeah, it actually was super helpful. Fantastic timing for when they came out with the collectible minifigure series with the holidays. It actually was perfect timing because I was trying to get this done for Christmas Eve. And so I actually debuted it on Instagram Christmas Eve, and it kind of went like wildfire. And so I thought, well, I'll bring it to the convention. And but yeah, it allowed me to put, as many Christmas things. I got gingerbread on there. I got reindeer. All the elves, I kind of swapped out their heads, so they got like eye patches. And I got Krampus from Firestar Toys. He's up like actually controlling the ship. So him and Santa are kind of teaming up this year, and so yeah. And
you mentioned BBG Forge. They do some great work. So can people find their stuff online? Where can people check that stuff out?
Yeah, BBG Forge, great guys. I've known them since before they even started up. But yeah, they did the custom Christmas black flag with the skull and the crossed candy canes. Yeah, they're online, bbgforge.com. Fantastic guys. Really great to work with. Their quality is next to none. So
awesome. Well, keep up the great work here. Two fantastic but very different builds. So I appreciate everything you did. I know you said you were limited on time, but thanks for still bringing these out to the show here. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.